people will define me as this ass kicker when I'm so silly in reality. So this is just allows me to flex really what I am doing an action comedy like Black Dynamite and Outlaw Johnny Black. This is my natural inclination.
Michael Jai White, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm doing extremely well. Listen, I love Black Dynamite, but Outlaw Johnny Black is next level, man. It is so good. It reminds me, so my dad I used to watch a lot of Westerns with my dad growing up. And Buck and the Preacher, starring Harry Belafonte and directed by Sidney Poitier, it gives me those type of vibes. And you really shine with this action comedy genre. Can you talk to me about where the idea came from?
We had the idea a while back when I was doing Black Dynamite. I always wanted to do three movies that were set in that time period. One being Black Dynamite, the second being this one, the Western, that harkened back to that, Buck and the Preacher, Take a Hard Ride, and then something that just did an homage to the Western genre altogether. And then the third was a horror movie, kind of like Blackula, that type of thing.
Now, look, your cast is phenomenal on this. Can you talk to me about what they brought to their roles that wasn't necessarily on the page? Anika Noni Rose, Erica Ash, Byron Mims, they're excellent in this film.
I feel like I cheated. You got people, I had these amazing human beings in this movie, and you just add water and there you got it. And they just brought these things to life because they're extraordinary, exceptional people. And so I benefited, and the audience would benefit from just seeing what they were able to do.
Now, like I said, I loved Black Dynamite, but Outlaw Johnny Black, it has a lot of substance in it. It's not just surface level comedy. I mean, it's a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be. Can you talk about the decision on social commentary in this movie?
Well, absolutely. I don't fall in love with my own stuff. I wrote this, and I wanted these messages to be clear. I know that it's a comedy, but I try to basically interweave good storytelling and some messaging. And I let it happen and see what occurs. And people who have seen it have come away with the messages that I intended for them to get. And much to my surprise, because I mean, sometimes, you make the attempt and, it may go over people's heads, but I've been very, very happy about the responses that's been happening from this movie. And especially, I've had several test screenings, and there have been absolute. It was like one screening had 5 audience applause breaks. I didn't expect that, and so it's been great.
I mean, deservingly so, because there's moments in that movie where I almost forgot I was watching one of the gigantic production films, because it gets so deep into the story, and you're just engulfed into like this old school Western and these themes that are with it. I thought the film was phenomenal. Can you talk to me about your approach with the dual role of directing and starring in Outlaw Johnny Black, and what unique challenges it presented? Because I know this isn't your first time directing and starring in something.
It's quite natural to me, to be honest with you. Sometimes it's harder when being that, like I might do an action movie, right? And I'm the hired actor. And it's hard for me to turn off my directing and producing brain. So I'll be in my trailer in a movie that I'm just an actor in, and I'll be sitting there going, did they think about the lighting on this side? Because if the sun's going to go down, if they better get this shot out of the way first. And I'll run out of my trailer. Hey guys, have you thought of? Oh, thanks, Mike. And I'll sit back and I'll be like, oh, wait a second, this has changed. So I can't turn that stuff off. So when I'm directing, it's just organic for me, because I'm used to multitasking and I enjoy the problem solving thing.
Right.
So juggling, that's normal for me. and it's not even stressful. I absolutely enjoy it.
That is
So
incredible.
so it feels good being able to do this.
You know, to piggyback off that question, as an accomplished martial artist and actor, how did your background influence your directorial decisions in terms of action sequences and fight choreography? Because we get a great opening scene where you're doing some martial arts to a bunch of, we'll say, bullies that are harassing somebody, and it's a phenomenal scene. But how do you approach that?
I don't want to sound arrogant, but I'm like, do we have time to shoot the action thing? Okay, and I'm creating it on the way to the set.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I've done it so many times. And so I'll say, here's the count, guys. I want you to do this, you to do this. They don't know what's going on. I've already cut the thing in my head.
Wow.
So it's unusually easy for me to do. And so, like, say there's a point where I'm kicking 4 times with the same leg. It seems complicated, but no, it's only I'll say, this is my timing. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to get a hit on 1. You get a hit on 2. Remember, this is the cadence. All right, action. 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. You know what I mean? So because I'm used to the angle, and being that I've done a lot of fighting, somebody could move into the wrong place, but I'll know the angle because I can see the camera. So I will adjust the angle to the person that I'm doing the fight with. So it's really easy for me to do that stuff.
That was exactly what the scene I was talking about. That kick was amazing. That 1-2-1-2 kick. Oh, it was brilliant.
Yeah, because I can go, because they're never going to be in the same place.
Right.
So I go, the camera's there. Well, my foot has to be right here to make it look. So I'll put my foot right at that point that looks like contact. It's like I feel like I'm cheating. So it's like it's because I do it all the time. So that part is the action part. I know I'm going to take care of, and so I'll focus on the other things, the other movie making parts, and dealing with the lighting and everything else, and so that's really how that goes.
I'm so familiar seeing you as an ass kicker in some of these superhero and martial arts films. I almost forget that you're so brilliant at comedy, especially writing comedy. Can you talk to me about kind of like your adventures into really figuring out your comedic sense and your comedic tone while writing Black Dynamite and this?
Even if I'm doing a drama, believe me, it's me quieting my comic stuff. It's people don't believe it because I look like this. I have the male RBF, but there's always funny stuff. It's hard for me to be serious. I have my daughter's 15th birthday is today, and I have one that's 14, who's turning 14. And they've said that they've never seen me angry. I've never, so like people would be surprised about that. And my house is like a sitcom where humor is following me my entire life. I'm a child of Monty Python. I grew up with that and Peter Sellers. That's the stuff that I watch, all the weird. So it's kind of this weird thing that people will define me as this ass kicker when I'm so silly in reality. So this is just allows me to flex really what I am doing an action comedy like Black Dynamite and Outlaw Johnny Black. This is my natural inclination. This is, so I'm not bound by some kind of serious, kind of mindless ass kicking robot type of character.
Listen, I'm on board for all of these films. I feel like you're exactly right. This feels a little bit like that Monty Python group that would always make films together, or even those Mel Brooks films like that we had back in the day, where they would always kind of make their films together. I love this storytelling because it's so new. Well, it's original. It feels like really original from all the mainstream big IPs we've been seeing a lot lately on the screen. Now, can you share any interesting memories or behind the scenes stories from making Outlaw Johnny Black? Because essentially it's one thing that we don't see a ton made anymore are like spaghetti westerns. So what were some of the things you learned while making a Western?
I learned, first of all, that I can do a Western, you know. But the thing is, sometimes it's really about casting the right people.
Sure.
I think a lot of people, they've done Westerns wrong in the past. They've failed a number of attempts, because when you're doing a Western, you're holding up a level that, back when they did Westerns, people were made of some really serious stuff.
Right.
You know, the Charles Bronsons, the just you name them, just going down the line. Lee Van Cleef and all these people just oozed like personality.
Sure.
And they were tough. They've lived through something, and you can't. A lot of people nowadays, you can't cast a kid that just felt like he stepped out of Starbucks,
yes,
some actor, and then ask them to be bought in a Western setting. He's held up against another standard.
Sure.
So
ask a little grit on it.
Yeah. So for me, I love the genre, and I feel like I know what works in it. We've had some really great Westerns. I mean, Old Henry, Unforgiven. When it's done right, it's probably my favorite genre.
I couldn't agree with you more. I grew up watching Westerns with my dad. He was really big into, oh man, you name it, Shane, Gunsmoke, all sorts of Westerns that we watched together growing up. So I agree with you. Unforgiven, once you do it right, it is kind of like a perfect lost art, I feel like, which you kind of captured a lot with Outlaw Johnny Black. Now, what attracted you to tell this story, and did you always know that this was the cast that you wanted to have in it? And by the way, there are a ton of cameos in this film that if you blink, you'd miss it. But like, oh my gosh, you got like everybody in this movie.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, people. I mean, the script brought a lot of people into it, and also, I think it's because they have respect, that they respect how I move and what I stand for. So, but primarily people read things that they really responded to, and really good actors. It's not a matter of money. Sure. It's a matter of them doing something that they believe in, and a matter of quality. So I got those people to come out to lend their services, and I tell you, there were a few that if I kind of like. Do you know Sam Jackson was going to do a role in this? Samuel L. Jackson was.
Get out of here!
But he had a back surgery, but was still willing to come to set.
That's incredible.
Still willing to come to set, but out of our friendship and out of just what's right, I didn't want that man that I respect so much to go through pain, even though he was willing to do this, to do this cameo. It's like you have somebody like that. That's my hero, and I got some other heroes in there too. But yeah, I was very happy that people responded to that, and I was super happy that even the grips and electric people who normally don't care about what's going on in the script, they were requesting scripts because they were so engaged and found themselves like really into what we were doing. Because I wrote this. It's based off of Black Wall Street originally, Greenwood, before it became Tulsa, and the tragedy that happened there was not unlike several that happened around the country at that time.
Right.
So I bring light to those type of things, but historically, but I do a different spin on it, of course, and and then try to weave a story that has something to say. It's kind of a story about redemption and forgiveness,
right?
But disguised as a revenge film. So I feel the Western genre is the best one to set up that magic trick to be like, okay, yeah, you're getting ready for a revenge film, quite naturally.
I also love that you called it like a magic trick, because you're totally right. It is set up as a revenge film, but there's so many layers to it once you're in there, and you get so much out of it. Can you talk to me about balancing the comedy element of Outlaw Johnny Black with the action and drama, ensuring a cohesive, engaging experience for the audience?
It's a delicate balance, but it's not one that hasn't been done in the past with the movies that I grew up on, like Buck and the Preacher and Uptown Saturday Night, Let's Do It Again, A Piece of the Action. These movies, like this is the tone that I was setting out to do. I want to give for a younger audience and an older audience, my age and older. I want them to, revisit that feeling, because for me, it just, there was nothing like it. So I wanted to bring that back. But yeah, there's this delicate balance of nobody wants to be preached to.
Right.
Right. So it's about presenting it in such a way where you where you entertain them, and then you blindside them with some messaging, some knowledge, and then you go, okay, we got that. Now let's laugh again,
right.
And keep on going. I think Tyler Perry is one example of that. People could joke about this big man in a dress playing a grandma, but what is that grandma saying?
Right.
That grandma was saying some of the most impactful stuff that anybody said in decades. And so that's that kind of that's what you want. You want to have that alchemy.
I know that you love the Western genre. What were some of the key lessons or insights you gained from directing Outlaw Johnny Black? And did it change your perspective on filmmaking in any way?
For me, it's just about, hey, I'm going to do my best. And if it works, great. And I'm just so happy that the messages are coming through loud and clear.
Oh, yeah.
And as I continue to speak about it, I'm speaking from the exiting folks who saw the movie. And everybody keeps saying, you know what, I've never seen a movie like this. And I'm like, wow. And when people keep saying that becomes a narrative. I go, well, I have no expectations. But when people are telling me, I've never seen a movie like this, I've never seen a movie like this, and this has impacted me this way. And one of the things that really was dear to my heart, one of the first screenings I had, a producer friend left and called me the next day. He says, man, I want to thank you for that movie. I said, what do you mean? He says, watching your movie made me contact my mother. I hadn't spoken to my mom in 8 years.
Wow.
But after seeing your movie, I called her. And we're getting together. And I'm like, wow, if I could do that with a movie, hey, I didn't expect that.
That's incredible.
So these are the things I have, I do my best to put it out there. I raise my child the best way I can, and then it has to fly on its own. And so that child is kind of making me proud.
Between Black Dynamite, Outlaw Johnny Black, brilliant films. Honestly, they're amazing. Now, as a multi-talented artist, how do you approach the process of bringing a character like Johnny Black to life in front of the camera and behind it? It
starts with me. I wrote it, and I'm writing from my perspective. I'm still that guy, Ferrante Jones, that starred in Black Dynamite.
Right.
So it's kind of like the true lead is the writer, if you can get what I'm saying.
For sure.
What is this writer who's writing this movie circa 1971 and is coloring things from that lens? That's what it is. It's got to be authentic to that voice.
Right.
If it's authentic to that voice, you're going to be fine. So you're not playing the joke. as a joke. You're playing it for the reality. And so you have to just, you know, there's different things that you got to weave. You know, there's incident level, you got to raise that because you have a shorter attention span audience nowadays.
Right.
So that's another thing that you got to dial that up a little bit. So, you know, but it's absolutely fun.
It looked like you're having such a fun time making this.
Yeah. It's absolutely a fun process creating it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I love Gigantic Studios. I love what you guys are doing and creating. What's next? And what are some of the challenges that you want to put in front of yourself as a director? I mean, you've done the Black exploitation 70s film with before. You've done Outlaw Johnny Black. What's next on your guys' agenda?
Well, I've got some action things that kind of in the comedy and action realm. There's something that I can talk a little bit about it. The Black Dragon, which is more of a martial arts centric kind of character. It's badass, but a fun thing. I'm about to direct another movie called Trouble Man, and got some really cool things. I mean, some really cool things down the pike, and you know, it's just about continuing forward and doing these movies independently, doing them the right way, and you know, and really serving my audience.
Right.
So that's what I'm excited about. I get a chance to do it.
Michael, you have such a great eye as a director, and like you said, it does seem to come pretty natural to you. Is there any like old school IPs that you'd like to kind of sink your teeth into? Something like I don't know, like a Big Trouble Little China or something like that you'd want to direct?
Yeah, there's something called Into the Dragon that I think I have a take on that would be killer. And I nearly sold it to oh God, what's his name? He loved the pitch. Joel Silver, years back. Yeah, but you know, things got mixed up and we lost contact or whatever. But he was super excited about it. So you know, you might make me, you know, give him a call and see if we can get that resurrected. But yeah, so there's a number of movies that that I would love to take on. Eventually, I'd love to be behind the camera, producing these movies and putting them out the way I can. And you know, but right now, you know, I have the lampshade on my head, and I got to be the lead guy. But I want to create a railroad of new Michael Jai Whites, new action stars that I can be behind. So, you know, eventually I can kind of take a step behind the scenes a bit more.
Well, hopefully that's far down the line because, look, man, you're still in great shape. I love still seeing you on camera, but I love watching your films and I love watching your directing career starting to take off, and your writing is phenomenal. So thank you for your time, Michael. I really appreciate it. I loved this film. It is so layered. It's so good. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.